It is now very nearly 10 minutes to 4, and our next guest is Tessa Dowling, who is a senior lecturer in African languages and literature at UCT. Molo, Tessa.
Molo, kunjani? Ndiyaphila
Siyaphila,
Buti, ndi-impressed, man. Ndi-impressed indlela othetha Xhosa ngayo, the way you speak Xhosa. Yeah?
Yeah, just a bit here and there. I understand it better than I speak it, and I do sometimes giggle quietly as I hear my colleagues talking about me in a language they think I don't understand.
It's very nice.
Yeah. Look, Tessa, I know that you are very, very committed to getting people who don't speak an African language to try to learn to speak the one that is dominant in the area where they live, which in the Western Cape would be Xhosa. And
yes.
You're doing a course relatively soon.
Yes, from the 8th of May to the 26th of June on the Skillfully platform. It's a fantastic platform for, very high quality courses in financial services, but they also have my course, which is great because I think they recognize Greg Freed and Jimmy Winfield, the creators of Skillfully, realize that you do need soft skills like communication skills as well. If you want your business to work, if you want your relationships to be good. So I'm really happy and honored to have been invited to be on that platform. And I've put together a great little course for them, which is a lot of phrases. So each week we're doing phrases. So I'm not going into the grammar so much. I'll give people the building blocks. But just those phrases, like I heard you say the other day, kia cheese, it's so hot. And I just thought that was so great to be able to say that on a boiling hot day. Not just to be like, I don't know what to say. That so many times my students, I just don't know what to say. And just to have something in your pocket that you can pull out. And then from there, move on to more. I don't know, John, how did you do it?
I grew up in the Eastern Cape, and I used to be reasonably fluent, and unfortunately not speaking it for many years means that most of it disappeared, and it's kind of only a sort of faint homeopathic signature that remains. How long, I mean, if one is 40, if one is 50, if one is even 30, I mean, one of the things about language is that, one of the things I've read about language is that it takes 600 hours to become fluent in a language. So if I were to move to a country in South America where Portuguese was the dominant language and there was no English spoken, it would take me 600 hours, which is not a terribly long time when you are only able to speak Portuguese to become fluent in Portuguese. But if you're doing an hour a week at Alliance Française, it's going to take you 600 weeks to become fluent in French. What's your sense with Xhosa? How quickly one can develop a conversational, not fluency, because that's not that easy, but a kind of conversational get-by-ness?
Well, I advertise that in 12 weeks, if you do a course like the one that I'm offering on the Skillfully platform, if you do a 12-week course, 12 hours over 8 weeks, 12 hours over 8 weeks, then in those 12 hours, you will have enough introductions, greetings, asking questions, complimenting people, complaining, enough to get you into the conversation so that then in your relationship with somebody, you can build on that and get a little bit more, because a lot of that, it's just that initial stuff. And really, I've seen it work with a lot of my clients now that I teach are overseas. And they, I had a German man who started when he was 70, and I've gone through a few birthdays with him. I mean, with the whole conversation that we have now is in Xhosa. He's great. He's a mathematician. He's not a linguist, but he applies himself to the bit of homework. In the beginning, he could just say a few phrases, but he said enough to get on with his, I think it was his daughter's mother-in-law, his son's mother-in-law. His son married a Xhosa woman, and he wanted to be able to say things to her, and he did. And so it's having that motivation, thinking, can I say a few things? Till eventually he's grown, and we don't say a word in English now in our conversations. It's entirely in Xhosa in our lessons. And so I think it was just him starting off with a few phrases and then moving on. So I think in those first 12 hours that you're going to do, you are going to get enough to motivate you to do more and to interact and to get that fantastic reaction from people, John. Like, I mean, I know you must get it sometimes, you know, when people are like, you, yes, yes, Ted. It's like, it's so nice to get that reaction.
Teta nix.
Dololo buti.
You eventually get to the point where, so you've gone through the few phrases that you know, and then you say, Dicelo Tolo. You know, I'm sorry, that's all it takes.
How nice is that? How nice is that? Dicelo Tolo, you know? I mean, that's just a huge thing to be able to say sorry. And I know that when, you know, I go to France and I know just a little bit of French, just to be able to say, I've dragged that out, because eventually I realize, you know, that you do need it. Even those few phrases are useful in a situation where no one can speak the language or when there's some kind of tension. And I think that's the other thing. Sure, the other person might speak a whole lot better English than you do, speak Xhosa, but it's that tension, it's that humor, it's that laughter, it's reaching out and saying, I really do want to connect. And I'm laughing at myself for knowing so little, because so often English speakers rule over other language speakers. We, you know, our accents, everything, and suddenly you are humbled. But the rewards you get, are not linear. You get so much more than you put in.
You know, I've just been recording an audio book, and there are plenty of Zhuquanzi phrases in it, and the sound languages have the 4 clicks, and no matter how much I practiced, and I practiced a lot, when I got to one of those Zhuquanzi words, I tended to not get the click right. And it's because my dental architecture, if you like, wasn't formed to use those clicks, because one of the other things that the linguists say is that it gets really difficult to learn a new language, to become fluent in a new language, particularly if there's a different palato-labial dental architecture needed after the age of kind of 6 or 7, because your teeth and your tongue are used to going into only certain places, and to make the Zhuquanzi clicks and Xhosa clicks, they need to go into other places that you're not used to. So, I mean, how much of an issue is that in the kind of course that you do?
It's only an issue, by the way. I'm impressed with your clicks. I really am. It's only an issue if you feel that you know, embarrassed by it. But I had a wonderful colleague once, Sydney Zotwana, and he said to me once, you know what? Some of us don't click that well, you know. So, like, chill, Tess, chill. And it was having a colleague like that who said, just speak. You know, Teta is Teta. And that encouragement of saying, you know, you might never pronounce, you might never get the stresses of English right. You might never get those minimal pairs, you know, the long I and the short I in English, bit and bit, and, you know, bird, you know, how people, you don't know if you're saying it's a bird or a bed. It doesn't matter, because the context will work out what you're saying. So, you know, just to think about how accommodating people are generally when they want to communicate with each other. And if the clicks aren't rolling off your tongue, that's okay. Sotho speakers that I know struggle with Xhosa clicks, but I hear them chatting away in Xhosa, you know, as if they're fluent. But then they'll say to me, oh, you know, and also that TY sound, how do you make it in Xhosa? Asking me, an English speaker. But it's just that sense of perfection is not what we're looking for. We're looking for communication and connection, not perfection. Maybe that would be my motto.
It's a great thing to have on a T-shirt, I think, Tessa. Just quickly, we have to cross the news soon. The details as to how one can inquire more about the course that you're doing in a couple of months.
Yeah, great. So you're going to go to Skillfully. You just Google the Skillfully .co.za, and then it's on. You just put in, when it's search the course, you'll see all the other wonderful courses that are there, and then you will see. You put in Xhosa, and it will give you everything that you're going to get in my course.
Thank you very much, Tessa Dowling, Senior Lecturer in African Languages and Literature at UCT.